Lightning might actually strike at SoFi today, because there's a move on the board that can shift the DNA of this team. A defensive mind is back in the building, and it's the kind of change that hits the locker room harder than most people want to admit. There's a big-name weapon being floated for free agency who could turn quick throws into real damage after the catch. And there's a new partnership on offense that, if it clicks, makes the rest of the league feel just a step behind. Then you've got one more issue to deal with. An edge rusher who just boosted his price tag, and now it feels like half the NFL is circling. Bolt fam, do you trust the plan? Before we jump in, do me a favor. Hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment as we go, because I want to know exactly where you land on all of this by the end. Some hires look like just another coaching update, until you zoom out for a second. Defense is identity. It's the backbone that keeps you standing when the offense has one of those weird, ugly Sundays. That's the mood around Los Angeles right now. The Chargers didn't chase the loudest headline. They picked stability. They doubled down on trust inside the building. They went with someone who knows this place and knows the little bad habits that show up when the pressure starts squeezing. This isn't a random swing, it's a message. The Chargers announced Chris O'Leary as the new defensive coordinator. And if your first reaction is to shrug because it's not some massive national splash, look at the context. Jesse Minter is gone, having been employed to coach the Baltimore Ravens, and the Chargers absolutely could have gone hunting for the biggest name on the market. Instead, they brought back a familiar face. Someone who was here recently, stepped away for a minute, proved he could run the whole thing, and came back with even more credibility attached to him. O'Leary was the safeties coach for the Chargers in 2024. Then he left in 2025 to take the defensive coordinator job at Western Michigan. And it wasn't some quiet detour where nothing happened. That team went 10-4 and reached the 4th Mid-American Conference Championship appearance in program history. That's not trivia. That's leadership with results. That's a coach showing he can organize, adjust, and keep a defense together when the game gets chaotic. And his last stop in LA? It wasn't fine. It was real. The Chargers allowed 17.7 points per game in 2024, and in today's NFL, that's a standard you can build a season around. Derwin James Jr. picked up another Pro Bowl in that environment, and O'Leary's reputation has always been about development, taking talent and turning it into reliable, repeatable habits. He's coached high-level safeties before, including Notre Dame's Xavier Watts, and you can feel the fingerprint he leaves. Disciplined, aggressive, fast processing on the back end. But the locker room piece matters just as much, maybe more. Tony Jefferson, who came out of retirement in 2024 and was around O'Leary day-to-day, said the spotlight needs to be on him. Veterans don't hand out praise like that for free. Jefferson's a free agent in March, and the possibility of O'Leary being back in charge is something that could factor into whether he wants another run in powder blue. Elijah Molden, who signed a 3-year extension in 2025, also said publicly he was excited to work with O'Leary again. Translation? The defense didn't just accept it, they're leaning into it. So no, this isn't just filling a vacancy. It's the Chargers saying, we've got a standard, we've got accountability, we're not starting over. And when your continuity is on defense, you already know what that can become when January football tightens up. And while we're still processing that move, there's another name being floated that could change the feel of this offense on Sundays. Some rumors don't explode because they're flashy. They explode because the fit is obvious. A physical veteran receiver who can take a simple completion and turn it into a chunk play is being linked to the Chargers, and you can feel the conversation shift immediately. This isn't about nostalgia, it's about function. Debo Samuel is getting connected to Los Angeles as a potential free agent target, and even the idea of it changes how people picture the offense. Is Debo the same All-Pro from 2021? No, be honest. But he's not done either. Even dealing with inconsistent quarterback play with the Commanders in 2025, he still posted 72 catches for 727 yards and 5 touchdowns. Solid production, especially when you remember that some of his value doesn't show up in the basic box score, yards after catch, forcing extra attention, giving a quarterback easy throws that turn into big momentum swings. Here's the thing. In LA, Debo wouldn't have to carry the whole operation. He'd be a multiplier. The kind of player who punishes man coverage, gives you a dependable answer on third down, and forces a safety to creep just a half step inside. That half step is everything, especially when Justin Herbert is the one ripping the ball, because he'll hit the window the moment it opens. And the reunion angle makes it feel even cleaner. Mike McDaniel knows how to use Debo. He was around him in San Francisco. He knows how to move him, how to stress a defense, how to make linebackers wrong before the snap. If you bring that chess piece usage into this Chargers offense, it's not just adding a receiver, it's adding options. It's making decisions faster. It's changing what defenses feel safe calling in the red zone and on third and long. There will be competition, no question. The Steelers need receiving help. The 49ers could make sense depending on how their room shakes out. The Cardinals have space. But at this point in a career, winning matters. And winning with Herbert, inside a scheme that values quick answers and damage after the catch, is a pretty strong sell. The risk is straightforward: price and wear and tear. Debo plays through contact, and that style comes with attacks. The upside is just as clear. Defenses respect him, secondaries have to account for him, and the offense gains layers instead of living on one note. And if that idea doesn't already have you thinking, the next piece is the one that should make you sit up. Because the Herbert-McDaniel partnership? On paper, it looks like a cheat code. McDaniel got real production out of an offense even with a more limited quarterback situation in Miami. Herbert, meanwhile, has spent years playing on hard mode, bailing out broken pockets, carrying too much, making Superman throws just to keep things functional. Put those two together, and the word that jumps out isn't highlights, it's efficiency. McDaniel is obsessed with structure, route combinations that connect, play action that looks the same until it suddenly doesn't, concepts that hand a quarterback answers before the rush gets home. And when he looks at Herbert, he doesn't see a finished product, he sees ceiling. He even said it himself. He thinks Herbert's best football is in front of him, not behind him. That matters because it points to Herbert not having to be plan A, plan B, and plan C every drive. McDaniel has talked about building an offense that, in theory, a third-string quarterback could operate. That doesn't take away from Herbert. If anything, it frees him up. Fewer break-glass moments out of necessity, and more clean, repeatable production. And don't ignore the run game. McDaniel has consistently leaned into the rushing attack. The Chargers have needed that kind of identity. Omarion Hampton was the best running back on the roster last season, and he ranked 19th in EPA per rush among running backs with at least 100 carries. That's something real to build on. A legitimate run threat changes the math. Linebackers step up, safeties hesitate, windows open, and suddenly Herbert isn't throwing into a wall every other snap. Let me say this too. There's a psychological shift baked into all of it. Herbert has been put in an unfair spot for too long. Solve everything, all the time. That creates bad habits, even for great players. McDaniel has already said he doesn't want to use Herbert's excellence as a crutch. He wants an offense that works in the first quarter and the fourth, in September and in January, when things are clean and when things get ugly. Does that guarantee anything? No. Defenses adjust. Chemistry takes time. But if this pairing clicks the way it should, the Chargers stop being dangerous and start becoming the kind of team nobody wants on their schedule. And while we're imagining what the offense can look like, the defense has its own high-stakes storyline. Because one of the biggest reasons the pass rush looked alive is now a guy everyone wants to pay. Odafe Oweh is one of those players you can't really hide. When an edge rusher starts producing at the sharpest end of the season, the phone doesn't stop ringing. That's exactly where we're at. Oweh came to LA without the loudest hype, made an immediate impact, and now the league is looking at him like a potential difference maker. He was rejuvenated in Los Angeles after a mid-season trade from the Ravens. After getting blanked, 0 sacks, in 5 games with Baltimore, he got to the Chargers and became a completely different problem. He posted 7.5 sacks in 12 games in LA, and the pressure was constant. Then came the moment that really pushes a guy's price into a different bracket. The wild card game against the New England Patriots. 3 sacks. Pure disruption. That's the kind of postseason performance that sticks when contracts get discussed. So yeah, it's not surprising to see teams like the 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles, and Bears being named as possible suitors. Look at their situations. They all need juice off the edge. San Francisco dealt with major issues up front. Dallas has been trying to replace lost production. Chicago needs help opposite Montez Sweat. Philadelphia has questions around its pass rush group moving forward. And in this league, pass rush is premium currency. The projection attached to Owe is serious. 3 years, $57.9 million. And for the Chargers, that creates real roster math. There's already investment at that position. Khalil Mack could be back. Tuli Tuipulotu is a core piece and the future. So how far can you push to keep Owe without squeezing other areas of the roster? From Owe's side, the logic is pretty simple. Age, speed, production, a postseason pop, those are the ingredients that tend to create bidding wars. At the same time, the fit in Los Angeles is obvious. Role clarity, environment, momentum. Sometimes that matters almost as much as the final number. And this is where the Chargers can't afford to drift. If you let Owe get to the open market without a plan, you might watch a difference maker walk, and possibly strengthen the very teams you'll have to beat when the playoff run gets real. If you overpay, you risk locking yourself into one spot while the rest of the roster needs balance. That's the chess game, and that's exactly why today matters. When you step back, the picture is pretty clear. The Chargers are choosing continuity on defense with a coach the locker room respects. The offense is being linked to a versatile weapon who can turn simple completions into chaos. Herbert is being paired with an offensive mind who builds structure instead of relying on hero ball. And the front office is staring at a major decision with a pass rusher whose market is heating up. None of this feels random. It feels like a team trying to move from almost into the group that actually controls games. Now I want it from you. Which one of these stories changes the Chargers' future the most? Drop your take in the comments, hit like if you're riding with the Bolt fam, and make sure you're subscribed, because the next twist in this offseason is going to come fast.